Listen to me carefully. This message is not for everyone. It is for the one who has been crying in secret, wondering when the drought will end. It is for the person who has been faithful, yet nothing seems to move. It is for the one who has given, served, waited, and still finds themselves standing in the valley of lack. I came to declare something today. God is about to shock your bank account. Yes, I said it. Not just bless it, not just increase it. God is about to shock it. What's coming will make you tremble with awe, because it will be far beyond anything you could have imagined, calculated, or planned for. There comes a time in every believer's journey when heaven decides enough waiting. A time when God looks at your persistence, your prayers, your faith that refused to die and says, no, you have entered that moment. You may not feel it yet, but the atmosphere around your life is shifting. God has been silently preparing a sudden overflow. The same account you've watched remain empty will soon be filled with divine surprises. The same hands that have written checks in faith will soon receive deposits that make no logical sense. God is moving not in small ways, but in supernatural ones. When God shocks your bank account, He doesn't just add numbers, He adds meaning, He adds purpose, He adds favor that cannot be earned. Because true prosperity is not random, it's strategic. God blesses the person whose heart He can trust. That is why He allowed the delay. He was building your character to match your blessing. He was teaching you to depend on Him, so that when the miracle came, you would never mistake it as your own doing. The famine trained you for the feast. The lack taught you the language of gratitude. The struggle positioned you to appreciate what's coming. Do not misunderstand this moment. You are not being punished by your problems. You are being prepared by them. God never wastes a test. Every empty wallet, every declined transaction, every painful no was a setup for what He is about to release. Some of you think God forgot your seed, but He didn't. The seed you planted in tears is about to produce a harvest in laughter. You've been asking when God, how long? And God is saying, now you have stepped into divine timing. Heaven's bank is about to transfer something into your life that the world cannot explain. When God decides to shock your bank account, He doesn't use human systems. He uses favor. He uses people you least expect. He opens doors that weren't even on your map. He whispers your name in rooms where you've never been. He causes opportunities to locate you by divine GPS. You don't chase blessings anymore. Blessings begin to chase you. What used to be difficult suddenly becomes easy. The things you prayed for begin to find their way to your address, because when God shocks your bank account, it is not a normal transaction. It's a divine announcement that your wilderness season is over. Do you know why your struggle was so intense? Because the blessing that's coming is greater than the pain you endured. God never allows you to go through financial emptiness without a reason. He uses the dry season to break pride, to reveal motives, and to train your spirit to rely on Him completely. That's why when the breakthrough comes, you will know it was God and God alone. Not a man, not luck, not chance, but divine orchestration. You will stand there looking at your account, your business, your opportunities, and whisper, only God could have done this. The moment you shift your mindset from scarcity to faith, everything begins to move. God responds to faith, not fear. If you keep saying, I'll never make it, your words create the walls that trap your future. But when you start saying, music, God is about to shock my bank account, you are speaking in alignment with heaven's will. The power of your confession is the key that unlocks your provision. What you say determines what you see. Speak abundance even when you feel broke. Speak overflow even when your pockets are empty. Because faith is not about seeing first. It's about declaring until you see. Some of you are one act of obedience away from your financial breakthrough. God may be telling you to release something small so He can trust you with something big. Don't resist the test. When you hold on too tightly to what you have, you block what God is trying to send. The hand that gives is the hand that receives. God cannot fill a closed fist. That's why your generosity matters. Not because God needs your money, but because He's training your spirit to let go. Every time you release something by faith, you're saying, God, I trust you more than my balance. That's when the floodgates begin to open. You have to understand money is spiritual. It's not just numbers. It carries energy, intention, and obedience. When your money is aligned with God, it multiplies. When it's not, it drains. Some people keep losing wealth because their heart is disconnected from divine purpose. But when you make God the center of your resources, He becomes the multiplier. You will give and still increase. You will sow and still overflow. Because your source is not the job, not the client, not the salary. It is God Himself. And when your source is unlimited, your supply will never run dry. Look at your life. You've survived seasons where you should have gone under. Bills that didn't make sense somehow got paid. Debts that seemed impossible suddenly disappeared. That wasn't luck. That was God. You are a living testimony of divine provision. And if God sustained you in lack, how much more will He bless you in abundance? The same God who kept you afloat will now cause you to overflow. You didn't come this far to stay where you are. You are standing on the edge of a financial explosion orchestrated by the hand of God. Get ready for unexpected credits, for sudden approvals, for doors you didn't apply for. Get ready for contracts that find you, for opportunities that chase your name. Get ready for checks that surprise you, for ideas that produce rivers of income. God is not limited by your education, your background, or your environment. When He decides to bless you, nothing can stop Him. He can use the most unlikely channels to bring you increase. He can use a phone call, a random message, a forgotten investment, a divine connection. Because God's ways are not our ways. This is not about greed. This is about purpose. God doesn't bless you just to make you comfortable. He blesses you so you can become a channel. You are a vessel of divine resources. When God shocks your bank account, it's not so you can boast, but so you can bless. You will feed families, fund visions, build futures, and lift lives. Your overflow will become someone else's answered prayer. That is the secret of divine increase. When God can trust you to be a river, not a reservoir, the more you release, the more He refills. Many of you are about to experience restoration. The years of loss, of stolen opportunities, of missed chances. God is about to repay them in one sweep of His hand. He will compress time for your sake. What you couldn't achieve in 10 years, He will give you in 1. Because when God steps into your finances, acceleration begins. You will move from not enough to more than enough. From scraping by to soaring high. And when people ask, how did this happen? You will simply smile and say, God did it. But hear me clearly. Before God shocks your bank account, He shocks your mindset. You cannot enter overflow with a poverty mentality. You cannot expect millions while speaking defeat. You must start thinking like someone who's already blessed. The moment you begin to act, plan, and speak like abundance is your normal, you invite it into your world. God doesn't fill empty wishes. He fills prepared vessels. Get ready, clean your accounts, organize your plans, and build your vision boards, and prepare your spirit for increase. Because when the miracle comes, it will require management. There are seasons when God hides your blessing to test your faith. But when He decides to reveal it, He does it publicly. He doesn't just restore quietly. He restores loudly. People who once mocked your struggle will have to watch your promotion. Those who said you'll never make it will see your rise and be silenced by your results. Because when God blesses, He blesses openly. Your story will become a living sermon of divine provision. And you will say, truly, God remembers those who trust Him. Some of you are about to experience divine coincidences. Meetings that seem random but are perfectly timed by God. You will meet someone who becomes the link to your next level. You will receive a message that changes your financial destiny. You will stumble into an opportunity that feels too good to be true. But it's God's way of saying, I've remembered you. When God decides to favor you, everything starts to cooperate. People, systems, timing, even nature itself. All creation begins to align with your miracle. You've carried the pain long enough. The wilderness season has expired. God is turning your scarcity into surplus, your struggle into story, your poverty into purpose. You will look back on this time and realize that every delay was divine. Every closed door was protection. Every no was redirection. God was never late. He was preparing the perfect moment to shock you. And now that moment is here. Expect divine surprises in your finances. Expect sudden favor. Expect the unusual. When you wake up, declare it. God is about to shock my bank account. When you go to bed, whisper it again. Keep your spirit in expectation. The atmosphere of faith is the birthplace of miracles. What you believe consistently, you will experience tangibly. Stop doubting and start thanking God in advance. Thank Him for the checks you haven't seen yet. Thank Him for the contracts not yet signed. Thank Him for the favor already forming. Gratitude opens the gate for abundance to enter. You are not broke. You are being built. You are not empty. You are being expanded. God is stretching you so He can fill you with more. Every struggle you endured was enlarging your capacity. Now you're ready. Heaven is releasing resources in your direction. What once felt like survival will now feel like overflow. What once was lost will now become legacy. This is your time. God is about to shock your bank account, not just with money, but with meaning, with stability, with freedom. Hold this truth in your heart. Your future is wealthier than your past. Your next chapter will not look like your last. God is not finished. He is just getting started. The same hands that struggled to pay bills will soon sign contracts that bless nations. The same lips that cried in frustration will soon testify in amazement. And when it happens, don't forget, it wasn't luck. It wasn't man. It was God. Your obedience is about to be rewarded. Your faith is about to produce fruit. Your persistence is about to pay off. Heaven has seen your seed, heard your prayer, and recorded your faithfulness. And now the divine command has been given. Release the blessing. Prepare your heart. Align your spirit and keep your hands open. Because very soon when you check that account, you will gasp. Fall silent and whisper, "This must be God." Listen closely, for this next moment in your spirit will not be ordinary. There is a divine wind moving even now. God is preparing to place something in your hands that will make every struggle worth it. You see, when God decides to change your financial story, He does it in a way that no one can take credit for. This is not about a promotion. This is not about a business idea. This is not about chance. This is about divine orchestration. God Himself will rewrite the economy of your life. He will shift what looked like nothing into more than enough. You have cried long enough. Now God says, "Watch me multiply." What they said was, "Finished." There are people who laughed at your faith, who mocked your prayers, who questioned your giving, who thought your hope was foolish. But they are about to witness the undeniable hand of God upon your finances. When God blesses you, He does not ask for permission. He does not check with your past or consult your background. He simply moves. And when He moves, nothing can stop him. The doors that once refused to open will now swing wide without effort. The clients who once ignored your calls will now pursue you. The land you thought was beyond, rich will soon bear your name. When God favors you, the laws of scarcity lose their power. But let me tell you something deeper. God's blessing is not only about wealth in numbers, it is about the expansion of your capacity. Before God fills your account, He fills your mind. Before He entrusts you with provision, He transforms your perspective. That's why the testing was long, because God was building you into a vessel that could hold a bun. Dance without pride, without fear, and without forgetting Him. Some people receive wealth and lose their wisdom. But when God is your foundation, wealth becomes worship. You will handle increase with reverence, not arrogance. You will see money as a servant, not a master. Many of you are stepping into a season of divine creativity. God is about to drop ideas into your spirit. Ideas that will carry the power to change your life forever. You will wake up with concepts that can create income streams. You will find yourself thinking thoughts that seem beyond your education, beyond your experience, beyond your environment, because they are not from you. They are from God. These are heaven-birthed ideas, and when you act on them, they will open financial gates that have been shut for years. God is about to anoint your imagination. When the hand of God rests on you, even small things begin to multiply. A single seed can become a forest. A single opportunity can create generational wealth. Us not underestimate what God can do with the little that remains. Remember, it is not about the size of what you hold, but about the size of the blessing that breathes upon it. God does not need millions to make you a miracle. He only needs your faith. If you will believe that He can turn your handful into a harvest, you will see it happen. God specializes in starting small and finishing great. Now understand, this truth wealth does not flow toward confusion. It flows toward clarity. God will not pour into a vessel that has no direction. You must write down your vision, your goals, your plans. Align them with divine wisdom. When you show God that you are ready to steward increase, He will not withhold it. Many have prayed for abundance, but are not prepared for responsibility. Preparation is proof of expectation. Get your affairs in order, because what's coming will require structure. If your foundation is weak, the weight of the blessing could crush you. But if your foundation is the flood of provision will lift you higher. There are seasons when God hides your provision until your character matures. Some of you are asking for financial increase while still holding on to habits that destroy increase. God delayed the blessing not to deny you, but to deliver you from what would have sabotaged it. He had to purify your motives, cleanse your hands, align your heart. Because when He blesses you this time, it will not come with sorrow. It will come with peace. The kind of peace that says, I no longer chase because God provides. Be careful how you speak in this season. Your words are seeds. The universe listens to the language of faith. Speak as if your account is already overflowing. Speak as if the miracle has already been released. Because when your words align with God's promise, your world begins to shift. Stop speaking lack. Start declaring abundance. Stop saying, I can't afford it. Start saying, God will provide it. The moment your tongue agrees with divine intention, the heavens begin to act on your behalf. You must also understand that sometimes God will shake your financial situation before He blesses it. He will allow certain doors to close so that you can stop depending on the wrong sources. You may lose a job but gain a purpose. You may lose a contract but gain a calling. You may lose people but gain clarity. The shaking is not punishment, it is alignment. God is breaking attachments that limit your flow. When the shaking ends, you will see why it was necessary. The structures that once drained, you will be replaced with streams that sustain you. Do not fear the unknown, because God is already there. He walks ahead of you into every opportunity. He inspects every door before you knock. He examines every transaction before you sign. You will not be deceived in this next season because divine discernment will be your guard. You will know which opportunities are from God and which are distractions in disguise. Your spirit will sense the difference between prosperity that lifts you and wealth that traps you. God will give you wisdom that protects your harvest. When the divine hand of blessing rests upon you, even the timing of your actions becomes perfect. You will find yourself in the right place at the right time, speaking to the right person. You will call someone just as they were thinking of blessing you. You will arrive somewhere at the precise moment opportunity opens. This is not coincidence, this is providence. When God decides to favor you, He synchronizes your steps with success. Listen, wealth without wisdom destroys, but wealth with divine purpose transforms. God is not about to make you rich just to make you comfortable. He is about to make you a vessel of impact. Your abundance will feed orphans, build dreams, restore dignity, and shift generations. You will use your wealth to break cycles of poverty and despair. This is why the blessing is coming with such power, because God trusts your heart. He knows that you will not forget the source when you receive the supply. There will come a day soon when you will look at your life and realize that everything changed. When you decided to believe that God could shock your bank account, that belief ignited heaven's movement, because belief is not passive, it is active energy. It pulls unseen realities into visible form. When you believe with conviction, you give permission for heaven to invade your circumstances. Faith is not fantasy, it is partnership. When your faith meets God's power, impossibilities collapse. I see you walking into a season where money will no longer control your emotions. You will no longer panic at bills or stress over deadlines. You will operate from peace, knowing that God is your provider. You will manage resources with confidence, not fear, because you will understand that true wealth is not the number in your account. It is the peace in your soul. And when peace becomes your foundation, prosperity becomes you, our companion. Let me tell you something powerful. God does not bless laziness. He blesses diligence. When you put your hands to work with faith, God multiplies your effort. This is the moment to act, to move, to build. Start the project, write the proposal, launch the business, send the message. Faith without movement is empty. God cannot multiply what you refuse to plant. The same God who gives the vision will give the provision. But He expects you to start walking. As you move, resources will appear. As you act, favor will locate you. Be careful not to compare your journey with others. God's timing for you is unique. While some may seem ahead, your breakthrough may be hidden in the process. A fruit that ripens early spoils quickly, but one that matures in season nourishes deeply. God has been ripening your miracle in secret. The wait was not delay, it was preparation. And when it comes, it will last. You won't just have wealth, you'll have stability. You won't just have increase, you'll have longevity, because God builds for eternity, not for applause. There is also something powerful happening in the unseen. Debts being erased, systems being shifted, names being spoken in high places. God is aligning resources for your sake. Someone right now is planning to favor you without even knowing why. Papers are being signed. Opportunities are being positioned. Ideas are being conceived, all to fulfill what God promised you. You are about to walk into answered prayers that were sent years ago, but were waiting for divine timing. Do not be surprised when people you never expected begin to bless you. God uses vessels. not always the ones you anticipate. He can use strangers to deliver your blessing. He can use institutions to honor you. He can use even your enemies to fund your destiny. Because when God commands favor, it obeys. It doesn't negotiate, it manifests. Your name is being whispered in rooms of decision. Your work is being remembered by those in authority. Your faith is being rewarded by the one who sees everything. Now hear this truth deep in your spirit. What God is about to do in your finances is not just addition, it is multiplication. He is about to accelerate your growth. The numbers will not rise gradually, they will leap. The opportunities will not trickle, they will flood. The provision will not be partial, it will be overwhelming. God is about to shift your financial level so drastically that even you will have to take a moment to catch your breath. You will stare at the numbers and whisper, "This cannot be real." But it will be real because God has decided that it is your time. You are not here by accident. This message is your confirmation. God has seen your faith, your tears, your perseverance. He has watched you sow when you had little, give when you were tired, and trust when nothing made sense. Now He is responding. He's about to move so powerfully that even your enemies will admit that something divine is happening. You will not need to defend your faith. Your results will speak for you. Stay humble when the abundance comes. Remember that wealth is a tool, not a throne. The more God blesses you, the lower your heart must bow in gratitude, because gratitude keeps the flow alive. The moment pride enters, the stream begins to dry. But when humility governs your heart, God keeps pouring. You will become a living testimony of divine generosity. Someone whose life proves that obedience to God produces supernatural results. My friend, hear me with your heart, not just your ears. You are standing at the edge of a divine turning point. What has looked like stagnation is not the end. It is the quiet before breakthrough, so great that even you will not be able to explain it. God has been working behind the curtain of your circumstances, arranging every detail, aligning every opportunity, and preparing every resource. He has been silent because He has been strategic. He has been invisible because He has been intentional. The delay was never denial. It was divine design. The hands of heaven are now moving in your favor. There are moments in life when God tests how much you truly trust Him, when your account is empty, when every door seems closed, when you've done everything right and still see no results. That's when your faith is weighed. Those moments are not meant to break you. They are meant to build you. Because before God trusts you with abundance, He must see if you can still praise Him in the absence. Can you still give thanks when the bills pile up? Can you still believe when you can't see the outcome? If you can remain steadfast in those moments, you are ready for what is coming. God blesses those who trust His timing more than their feelings. God is not limited by your salary, your job, or your background. He can shift your financial destiny in a single moment. He can turn one connection, one conversation, one phone call into a fountain of increase. But here's the secret. He does it when your heart is free from fear. Fear blocks favor. Worry stops the flow. The moment you let go of anxiety and start believing that God is your ultimate provider, you create space for miracles. Faith is not just believing that God can do it. Faith is knowing that He will. When your spirit settles in that certainty, everything around you begins to align. There are people right now who are living testimonies of this truth. They once had nothing, yet one divine moment changed everything. God took their obedience, their faith, their humility, and turned it into abundance. The same God who did it for them is about to do it for you. He is not partial. He is not selective. He honors principles, and the principle is simple. When you put your trust in Him, He releases provision. The same wind of blessing that lifted others is about to lift you. Sometimes God allows your bank account to run dry so you can learn that He is not your last resort. He is your only source. When every human option fails, when every system closes, when every backup plan falls apart, that's when you finally discover the power of divine supply. And when you reach that point, something in you shifts. You stop chasing money and money starts chasing you. You stop begging and you start attracting, because now your faith is rooted not in numbers but in God. You see, wealth without peace is a curse. Many people have money but no rest. They build empires but lose sleep. They gain possessions but lose purpose. But when God blesses you, He adds peace with it. You will have wealth and wisdom, abundance and alignment. You will not only have things, you will have meaning. You will not just survive, you will thrive, and your heart will remain anchored in gratitude. That is the kind of blessing that lasts. The coming blessing is not for you to spend recklessly. It's for you to build strategically. God is about to fund your assignment. The ideas you've carried in silence, the dreams you've buried under pressure, the visions you've been afraid to speak, those are not fantasies. They are blueprints from God. And when He releases provision, it's not just so you can buy more, it's so you can build more, build lives, build legacies, build light where there was darkness. The resources coming your way are for kingdom work, to heal, to help, to restore. When God blesses you, He expects you to multiply the blessing. You are not just called to be a receiver, you are called to be a distributor. The divine economy functions through flow, not hoarding. What you release determines what returns. The more you give, the more God entrusts you with. Because every time you let go of what's in your hand, you give Him permission to fill it again. Don't close your hands in fear. Keep them open in faith. Because open hands receive open heavens. You are about to witness God move through unconventional means. Expect income from places you never considered. Expect favor from people you never met. Expect opportunities that don't follow your resume. God is not restricted to logic. He operates through divine creativity. He can make your name known in high places without you ever promoting yourself. He can breathe life into an idea you thought was forgotten. He can use your smallest effort to produce your largest breakthrough. Because when His blessing breathes on your work, results multiply without effort. So I say to you now, expect the unexpected. Expect the sudden. Expect the impossible. God is not bound by human laws. He can cause a system to change for your sake. He can cause a policy to be rewritten because of your name. He can make a path appear in the desert. What looks empty to you is full to Him. You see a bank account, God sees a future. You see lack, God sees potential. You see delay, God sees timing. His perspective is higher, His plans are deeper, and His promises are sure. The time for fear is over. The time for small thinking is done. Lift your faith higher. Walk like someone who is already blessed. Speak like someone who knows that the Creator of all things has chosen to favor you. Live as if you already have the overflow, because in the realm of faith you do. What you believe consistently, you will eventually see physically. God is about to shock your bank account. Not for vanity, but for victory. Not for pleasure, but for purpose. Not for status, but for stewardship. Get ready, because the same God who sustained you in lack is about to surprise you in abundance. And when that abundance comes, it won't come as a wave meant to drown you, but as a river meant to carry you. A river that flows through every dry place of your life, reviving what looked dead, replenishing what was drained, and restoring what was lost. You will begin to understand that divine provision is not an event, it's a relationship. It's not about a single miracle. It's about living in the rhythm of miracles. It's about walking daily with the awareness that your source never runs dry. You may lose a job, but you will never lose your provider. You may lose a contract, but you will never lose his covenant. Because the covenant of provision is not built on the economy of earth, it's built on the economy of heaven. And in heaven's economy, there is no shortage, no inflation, no recession, no lack, only overflow. When God decides to fund your future, no system can block it, no person can stop it, and no devil can delay it. You are about to step into a season where your obedience will unlock what your effort couldn't. The strategies you tried before may have failed, but what's coming is not by might, not by power, but by His Spirit. You will begin to see doors open without you knocking, blessings arriving without you chasing, and answers showing up before you even finish the prayer. That's what happens when you walk in divine supply. There is a quiet confidence that comes when you know God is your source. You stop panicking over bills. You stop comparing your progress to others. And you stop measuring your worth by what's in your account. Because you understand that your provision doesn't come from people, it flows through them. God may use a person, but that person is just a channel. The source is always God. And when you stay connected to Him, you'll never run dry. The same God who multiplied oil for a widow, who fed Elijah by ravens, who brought manna in the wilderness, is still the same today. He has not changed, and He never will. So don't despise your small beginnings. Don't curse the season where it looks like nothing is working. Because sometimes God hides your provision behind obedience. He will tell you to give when you feel like keeping, to sow when you feel like saving, to bless others when you feel like you barely have enough. That's because He's teaching you the rhythm of the kingdom. You reap what you release. The world says, keep and you'll have more. God says, give and it will be given unto you. The world says, secure your resources. God says, seed your resources. The world says, hold tight. God says, let go. And when you follow His way, you'll find that what you let go of in faith returns multiplied in grace. The coming season will reveal the difference between those who work for money and those who are sent to manifest purpose. Money will follow purpose, not the other way around. When your purpose aligns with God's plan, provision is automatic. You won't need to manipulate, compete, or compromise to receive what is yours, because what's assigned to you can't miss you. What's meant for your life won't require striving, only stewardship. You won't have to force open a door. You'll walk through the one God already opened. You won't have to chase recognition. Favor will find you where you are. And when the blessings begin to come, remember, humility is the anchor that keeps favor from drifting into pride. Many can handle struggle, but few can handle success. That's why God often tests you in the desert before trusting why. In destiny. He watches how you handle lack to see how you'll handle plenty. He observes your heart when you have nothing to see if He can trust you with something. Because the blessing you mishandle becomes the burden you carry. But when you see yourself as a steward and not an owner, you become a vessel He can continually fill. Your hands must remain open, not just to receive, but to release. The open hand is the symbol of both generosity and trust. It means you understand that what you have is borrowed from heaven, and what you release on earth is recorded in eternity. God is not trying to take something from you, He's trying to get something to you. But He can't pour into closed hands. So when He prompts you to give, don't hesitate. When He asks you to bless someone, don't question. Because every time you give, you make room for more. Every time you pour out, heaven refills your cup. There's a generation being raised right now who will fund revival. They will not depend on the systems of this world. They will build their own through divine wisdom. These are people who will understand that money is a tool, not a God. They will use wealth to build schools, feed nations, support ministries, and restore families. Their goal won't be luxury, it will be legacy. Their motivation won't be status, it will be service. They will understand that true prosperity is having enough to meet your needs and overflow enough to meet others. You are part of that generation. That's why God has been pruning you, refining you, and teaching you through seasons of hiddenness. He's been shaping your character so that when abundance comes, your heart doesn't drift. You've cried in private, questioned in silence, and wrestled with uncertainty, but none of it was wasted. Those nights of lack were training you to handle overflow with gratitude. Those seasons of delay were protecting you from premature exposure. What you thought was a setback was actually a setup. You are being prepared for divine responsibility. When the floodgates open, don't apologize for your blessing, but also don't boast in it. Acknowledge that it was God all along. Tell the story of how He provided when there was nothing left. Tell the story of how He made a way through closed doors. Because your testimony will become someone else's hope. Your breakthrough will birth another's belief. When people see how God elevated you without connections, without wealth, without power, they'll know it was supernatural. You will become living proof that God still promotes the humble and lifts the faithful. This is not the season to shrink. It's not the time to think small or act small. You've been hidden long enough. Now God is calling you to step into visibility, not for vanity, but for influence. You've been in the background, but now it's your time to build, to create, to lead. There are businesses in your spirit, books in your heart, ideas in your mind, and solutions in your soul that the world needs. Stop disqualifying yourself because of lack. You may not have all the resources, but you have the source. Start where you are, with what you have, and watch God multiply it. Don't fear the unknown. The same God who guided you through the valley will guide you on the mountain. The same voice that sustained you in the storm will speak in your success. You are entering a divine flow where provision meets purpose and miracles meet movement. You won't have to chase blessings, they will locate you. People will look at your life and wonder how it happened so fast, but you'll know it was grace. You will stand in rooms that you didn't qualify for, hold positions you didn't apply for, and receive favor you didn't earn. Because this next level is not a reward, it's an assignment. And in that assignment, remember that divine wealth carries divine responsibility. Every resource you receive is a seed, and every seed has a purpose. Don't bury it in comfort, plant it in calling. Don't waste it on applause. Invest it in eternity. God is trusting you with tools to transform lives. Every dollar, every door, every connection has kingdom potential. When you use what He gives you to build His purpose, He will trust you with more, because the true measure of blessing is not what you have, it's what you give. There will be days when the enemy whispers, "You're not worthy of this." Ignore him. God doesn't bless based on worthiness, He blesses based on willingness. It's not about perfection, it's about position. Stay positioned in faith, and everything you need will find you. Don't let fear rob you of faith's reward. Fear says, "What if I lose it?" Faith says, "What if God multiplies it?" Fear says, "What if it doesn't work?" Faith says, "What if it changes everything?" Choose faith every time, because the truth is you're not waiting on God. He's waiting on you. Waiting for you to believe enough to act. Waiting for you to speak like it's already done. Waiting for you to prepare for what you pray. Ed 4. When faith and readiness meet, manifestation follows. The reason some blessings seem delayed is because your preparation hasn't caught up with your prayer. So, prepare now. Expand your vision. Stretch your capacity. Make room for overflow. The jars are ready to be filled, but the oil will only flow according to the size of your expectation. So dream again, plan again, build again, believe again. Because the drought is over. The famine is finished. Rain is on the way. Not just physical rain, but spiritual rain, financial rain, creative rain. Ideas that were dry will suddenly come alive. Resources that were blocked will suddenly be released. Doors that were locked will suddenly swing open. Because heaven has remembered your name. The same God who sustained you in your wilderness is now releasing you into your promised land. When the abundance arrives, stay anchored in gratitude. Don't forget the days you prayed for what you now possess. Keep your worship louder than your wealth. Keep your humility deeper than your success. Because the greatest danger of blessing is forgetting the blesser. Let your heart remain pure. Let your motives remain holy. Let your focus remain eternal. Because the same God who blesses can also test. And those who stay faithful in overflow will never see lack again. So lift your hands, not in worry, but in worship. Lift your eyes, not in fear, but in faith. Lift your spirit, not in striving, but in surrender. Because this next season is not earned, it's inherited. It's not achieved, it's received. You are walking into a divine inheritance that has your name on it. The promises spoken over your life are about to manifest in front of your eyes. You will testify of provision you didn't plan, favor you didn't chase, and opportunities you didn't expect. And when it happens, remember this, it was never about the money. It was always about the mission. Because in the end, wealth without worship is empty. Success without surrender is meaningless. But when your success glorifies God, when your abundance advances His purpose, and when your wealth builds His kingdom, then you have truly prospered. You are not called to accumulate. You are called to illuminate, to be a light in dark places, a source of hope where there was despair, a testimony that God still provides. The world will look at you and see what divine supply really looks like. A life overflowing with peace, purpose, and power. And as you continue to walk in that flow, remember, open hands receive open heavens. Keep them open, keep them lifted, keep them ready, because the best is not behind you, it's ahead of you. The same God who brought you this far is not finished. He's about to surprise you again, this time not with survival, but with supernatural supply. You've seen Him sustain you in scarcity. Now you will see Him showcase His glory through your abundance. This is your season of divine provision, divine purpose, and divine prosperity. Get ready, heaven's economy is about to fund your destiny. As heaven's economy begins to move on your behalf, you will start to notice a divine synchronization taking place. Connections that make sense only in hindsight. Relationships that feel like destiny. Doors that open with ease. And moments that remind you that you are right where you're meant to be. Every delay you endured will reveal its purpose. Every disappointment will begin to make sense. You will realize that God never denied you. He simply prepared you. He protected you from premature promotion, because premature promotion can destroy what patience was meant to develop. This new chapter is not about chasing opportunities. It's about becoming the kind of person opportunities chase. You won't have to run after favor. Favor will recognize your fragrance. It will follow the scent of obedience, humility, and faith. The anointing on your life will make what is ordinary about you extraordinary. When God breathes on your effort, even your smallest seed will yield supernatural harvest. You'll look at what you planted and wonder how it grew so fast, how it multiplied so much, how it exceeded every expectation. But that's how divine increase works. It takes the natural and makes it supernatural. There's a calm confidence that comes when you know your supply comes from heaven. You stop living in anxiety and start living in anticipation. You wake up every morning expecting something good to happen, not because you deserve it, but because He promised it. You live in the awareness that you are surrounded by favor, guided by grace, and sustained by supply that never runs out. The world may talk about recessions, but you live in resurrection. The world may talk about shortage, but you live in surplus. The world may say, it's impossible, but you'll say, watch God. God is about to show you that His provision, not limited by geography, education, or connections. He can bless you in the very place others wrote you off. He can promote you in the company that overlooked you. He can raise your influence in a land that once rejected you. Because when God decides to favor you, even those who doubted you will have to testify of His hand upon your life. What was once a struggle will become a story of supernatural grace. You will see God turn your not enough into more than enough. You'll witness Him take the fragments of your faith and multiply them into fullness. You'll find yourself walking in opportunities you didn't even pray for, because He answers prayers you never thought to ask. He doesn't just meet needs, He exceeds them. He doesn't just open doors, He builds new ones. He doesn't just bless you, He transforms you until you become a blessing. But as your influence grows, guard your heart from pride. Prosperity without humility leads to downfall. Remember who sustained you when no one believed in you. Remember the nights when all you had was a promise. Keep your heart tender and your ears open to His voice. Because the Ami Spirit that brought you into abundance must guide you to steward it well. The blessing is not the end. It's a new beginning, a higher level of responsibility. You will now have the capacity to change lives, to lift others, to restore what's been broken, to rebuild what's been lost. And when you give, don't give out of pressure or pity. Give out of purpose. Give because you understand that the kingdom expands through your obedience. Every act of generosity becomes a seed in eternity. When you sponsor a child, you're not just giving money, you're giving hope. When you fund a ministry, you're not just sowing finances, you're sowing freedom. When you bless someone in need, you're not just helping them, you're partnering with heaven. Because giving is not subtraction, it's multiplication. Every seed that leaves your hand enters God's soil, and nothing sown in His soil ever dies. There will be a moment soon where you'll look back and realize you are living in the very answers you once cried for. The tears you shed in the valley will become the rivers that water your harvest. The faith you exercised in lack will become the foundation that supports your abundance. The same God who tested you with little will now trust you with much, and you will carry it with grace. You won't flaunt it, you'll flow in it. You won't boast about it, you'll bless with it. You won't hoard it, you'll release it. Because you finally understand that everything you have is meant to pass through you, not just stay with you. You will begin to see that God never wanted you to chase riches. He wanted you to reflect His riches. Prosperity is not just what you hold in your hands, it's what overflows from your heart. It's the peace that money can't buy, the joy that circumstances can't shake, the contentment that success can't substitute. True wealth is not measured by possessions but by purpose. It's not about how much you earn, it's about how much impact you make. You will walk into environments and shift the atmosphere just by being there. Your presence will carry peace, your words will carry weight, and your actions will carry authority. People will look at your life and see evidence of divine partnership. They will sense that something about you doesn't operate on human systems. You'll no longer strive to prove yourself. You'll simply live in proof of His faithfulness. You'll no longer explain your success. You'll exemplify His glory. And in that moment, when abundance surrounds you and your name begins to carry influence, don't forget to return to the secret place. Don't let the applause drown out the whisper of God. Don't let your platform become louder than your prayer life, because the same presence that birthed your promise must sustain your progress. The more He blesses you, the more you must bow. The higher you rise, the deeper you must kneel. Worship is the only posture that can handle the weight of glory. There will be times when the blessing feels heavy, when the responsibilities of favor feel overwhelming. But that's when you remind yourself that grace didn't just bring you here, grace will keep you here. You are not sustaining this, God is. You're not carrying the weight, He is. Your only job is to remain faithful. And as long as you stay faithful, He will keep increasing you, not just in possessions, but in peace, in purpose, in perspective. You will become a living sermon of what divine alignment looks like. People will see you and realize that prosperity with peace is possible. You'll redefine what success means in your generation. Not fame, not luxury, not competition, but purpose-driven abundance. You will show that wealth can be holy, that money can be ministry, that business can be divine assignment. You will model what it means to prosper without losing your soul, to succeed without sacrificing your peace, to rise without forgetting the rock that lifted you. And when the world grows darker, your light will grow brighter. Your wealth will be a weapon against poverty, your wisdom a remedy for confusion, your generosity a reflection of God's nature. You'll fund ideas that heal nations, create systems that restore dignity, and launch movements that reveal His glory. Because this is bigger than you. It's about generations. The seeds you plant today will feed futures you may never see. The lives you impact now will echo in eternity. So don't doubt the process. Every delay is divine design. Every closed door is a form of direction. Every obstacle is an invitation for God to reveal His power. You are walking in the fulfillment of promises spoken long ago, promises that your ancestors prayed over, promises that heaven recorded before you were born. You are the manifestation of divine intention. You are proof that when God funds an assignment, no force can stop it. So keep your hands open, your heart pure, and your faith unshakable. Keep walking like someone who is already equipped, already chosen, already favored, because the story isn't over, it's only beginning. The overflow that's coming will not only change your life, it will change everything connected to you. Families will rise, visions will live, and destinies will awaken, because you chose to trust the source. And when it all unfolds, when you see the abundance you once dreamed of standing in your reality, lift your hands and whisper, "It was you all along." Because it was never your plan, your strategy, your wisdom, or your effort. It was always His grace, His favor, His hand. And that same hand that lifted you will keep you, guide you, and multiply you. You will never go back to lack again. The rest of your life will be a testimony of divine supply, sustained by heaven, built by purpose, and overflowing with peace. Listen to me carefully, because what I am about to say is not an ordinary word, not a casual statement, not a suggestion from man. It is a divine declaration. God said you will be a billionaire. When God speaks, reality must bend to His voice. When God declares something over your life, everything in creation begins to rearrange itself to make it happen. You may not look like it now. You may not feel like it now. Your bank account may deny it. But if God said it, it is already written in the realm of the Spirit. It's already sealed in the courts of heaven. When God speaks, He does not consult your past. He does not consult your mistakes, your failures, your background, your education, or your connections. God does not ask for permission to bless you. When God says you will be a billionaire, it is not a prediction. It is a decree. The same voice that said, "Let there be light," is the same voice saying to you, "Now you will be a billionaire." And when that voice echoes through the heavens, everything that once resisted you begins to submit. Every door that was closed begins to open. Every resource that was hidden begins to find its way to you because divine instruction has been released. You see, there are moments when God releases a word so strong that the earth itself cannot ignore it. When God decides to lift a man, He does not need to ask anyone for approval. When God chooses to bless a person, no curse, no demon, no envy, no limitation can stand against it. God Himself said, "You will be a billionaire not to boast, not to worship money, but to glorify His power through your abundance, because when a righteous man rises in wealth, the name of God is magnified through his stewardship." You must understand this truth. The blessing of God is not a result of labor alone. It is a result of divine favor. The world says you must work harder, struggle longer, competitiously. But when God speaks prosperity into your destiny, it is not the sweat of your brow that brings it. It is the wind of His Spirit that carries it to you. The wealth you are about to hold is not coming by logic. It is coming by divine orchestration. God is raising billionaires not from the elite, but from the hidden places, from the humble, from the overlooked, from those who dared to believe when everything around them said impossible. Many people misunderstand wealth. They think wealth is merely about money. No, true wealth is the manifestation of divine abundance. It is the overflow of God's intention for your life. It is a signal that you have aligned your heart with His purpose. When God says you will be a billionaire, He is not just talking about digits in your account. He is talking about your capacity to influence, to build, to restore, to bless, to transform. Billionaire is not just a financial status. It is a divine calling. It is a covenant position. You must prepare yourself for what God has spoken, because when God gives you a promise, He also prepares you for its weight. A billion blessing requires $1 billion heart. Many want the crown, but they reject the cross of discipline, faith, and trust. You must understand that divine wealth is not given to those who chase money. It is given to those who chase God. Money is the servant of divine purpose. And when God sees that, you will not let money rule you. He will command money to obey you. There will be seasons of silence before the fulfillment. God will test your faith before He trusts you with fortune. He will ask you to believe even when there is nothing visible to hold on to. Because faith is the currency of divine manifestation. Faith is the invisible bank account that funds the visible one. You cannot withdraw from heaven what you have not deposited through faith. When God said you will be a billionaire, He was not testing your intellect. He was testing your belief. Can you believe Him even when your circumstances contradict Him? Can you stand firm even when you are mocked? Remember, every billionaire chosen by God must first be broken by God. A brokenness precedes elevation. The vessel must be emptied before it can be filled. Do not despise your current season of lack, because it is the classroom of preparation. God is teaching you the language of abundance through the lessons of scarcity. He is molding your spirit so that when wealth arrives, pride will not destroy you. He is removing greed, envy, fear, and impatience so that when the floodgates open, your heart will remain pure. The promise of God does not fail. Time cannot erase it. Delay cannot destroy it. Doubt cannot cancel it. When God said you will be a billionaire, that word became immortal. It cannot die. It will live until it becomes flesh. And when the appointed time arrives, you will look around and see that every connection, every opportunity, every loss, and every pain was part of the architecture of divine success. God wastes nothing. Even your struggles are assets in the kingdom economy. But listen carefully. You must begin to think like what God called you. If God said you will be a billionaire, you cannot think like a beggar. You cannot speak like a victim. You cannot move like someone who is unsure of destiny. You must rise in your mentality. God prospers according to the level of your revelation. You cannot receive what you cannot perceive. The limit of your thought becomes the limit of your manifestation. When you think small, you insult the vastness of God. When you think big, you honor His majesty. Do not ask how. It is not your job to calculate God. He is the God who brings water from rocks, oil from jars, and manna from heaven. He does not operate through logic. He operates through faith. Your role is to align, not to analyze. You do not need to know the route when you trust the guide. You do not need to know the formula when you know the source. If God said you will be a billionaire, your duty is to walk as if it is already done. Talk as if it is already manifested. And act as if heaven has already signed the document. Be careful with your words. Your mouth is the pen that writes your destiny. Stop speaking lack. Stop confessing fear. Stop repeating the language of limitation. Begin to speak the language of abundance. Say, I am what God said I am. I have what God said I have. I will see what God said I will see. Every time you declare that, you align the atmosphere with divine reality. Words are seeds. Speak wealth, and wealth begins to grow. Speak faith, and faith multiplies. The reason God wants to make you a billionaire is not for luxury. It is for legacy. It is not for show. It is for service. You will fund dreams, build schools, feed the hungry, restore dignity here, and demonstrate that the blessing of God is real. You will be proof that obedience is not poverty, that righteousness is not weakness, that walking with God is not limitation. Your wealth would be a testimony that God is not a theory. He is power. The world has seen billionaires made by greed, manipulation, and deceit. But now God is raising billionaires born of righteousness, men and women whose wealth is rooted in integrity, whose prosperity is born of prayer, whose abundance flows from obedience. God is rewriting the story of wealth. He is saying, I can make anyone great as long as their heart is mine. You are that person. You are that vessel. You are that chosen one. Guard your heart in this journey. Because when wealth comes, so does attention. Many will try to attach themselves to your success. Some will envy you, others will misunderstand you. But remember, your calling is divine, not social. You do not owe explanation to man when you are walking in divine instruction. If God said you will be a billionaire, your loyalty must remain with the one who spoke, not the ones who watch. Do not measure your progress by comparison. Some will rise faster, some slower. But divine timing is not delay, it is precision. God is not slow. He is strategic. Every step you take is calibrated by divine wisdom. Even when you feel behind, God is aligning the right connections, opportunities, and resources for your manifestation. You are not late. You are being perfected. The promise will not come a day early or a day late. It will arrive at the moment when you are mature enough to manage it. Your environment may not believe, your friends may doubt. Your family may not understand, but it doesn't matter who disbelieves you when God Himself has already affirmed you. Every no from man is irrelevant. When heaven has said yes, you must walk with boldness. You must speak with authority. You must carry yourself with the dignity of divine destiny. And when that moment comes, and it will come, you will stand before the world as evidence that God keeps His word. Your story will silence the mouths of mockers. Your testimony will awaken faith in others. People will say, how did you do it? And you will say, God said it and I believed. That will be the secret of your success, not strategy, not skill, but surrender to divine instruction. Because true wealth is not a result of chance. It is a result of covenant. You are not chasing riches. You are fulfilling prophecy. You are walking in the script God wrote for you before the foundation of the earth. Every challenge you face now is only confirming how valuable your destiny is. You are not being punished. You are being prepared. When God declares abundance over your life, He is not describing a possibility. He's revealing a destiny. You are not merely hoping for wealth. You are walking to what has already been established in the divine plan. God's word is not like human promises. Music people can change their minds, but God's word is eternal. The moment He said you will be a billionaire, that moment your future shifted. The invisible laws of the universe began to align themselves with His command. The winds of destiny began to move in your favor. Even when you cannot see it, things are moving beneath the surface. The unseen hand of God is rearranging circumstances, redirecting people, and rebuilding opportunities just to fulfill what He spoke over you. But you must understand this. Wealth without wisdom destroys, but wealth with divine direction transforms. God will not release abundance into unprepared hands. He trains your mind before He fills your account. He strengthens your character before He multiplies your resources. Because the higher you rise, the deeper your roots must go. Wealth will not change you. It will reveal who you truly are. That is why God refines you before He elevates you. He allows hardship not to punish, but to polish. He tests your patience, your loyalty, and your motives. He asks you, will you still trust me when nothing around you looks like what I promised? For it is easy to believe when everything is visible, but faith is proven when you hold on to God's word in the dark. There is a reason some people never rise financially. Music. They want the blessing, but they reject the process. They pray for abundance, but disobey divine instruction. God is not looking for dreamers who talk about wealth. He is searching for doors who align with His principles. Every divine promise carries a divine condition. You cannot expect God to bless you while living contrary to His wisdom. He blesses the obedient, not the careless. He prospers those who walk in integrity, who give when it is hard, who trust Him with their substance. When you make God your priority, He makes abundance your portion. God will teach you the economy of faith, the principle that supernatural supply flows, not from what you hold, but from what you release. The world says, hold tightly, save every coin, protect your wealth. But God says, give freely and I will multiply. He is not trying to take from you. He is trying to increase you. When you sow into others, when you give to the poor, when you invest in good causes, you are opening the gates of divine return. What you give does not leave your life. It leaves your hand and enters your future. God never forgets a seed. Every act of generosity is a divine transaction recorded in eternity, waiting for the perfect time to manifest in abundance. You must train your eyes to see beyond the natural. The physical realm is not the final reality. It is the reflection of the spiritual. Poverty often begins in the mind before it appears in the pocket. Likewise, prosperity begins in faith before it shows in finances. You cannot live rich in spirit and remain poor in manifestation. God designed the world to respond to faith. What you believe deeply becomes what you eventually see physically. That is why you must protect your inner world, your thoughts, your meditations, your confessions. They are the architects of your reality. When God gives you a promise, the enemy will always attempt to whisper doubt. He will tell you that you are not qualified, that it is too late, that others are more capable. But remember, God does not choose the qualified. He qualifies the chosen. He lifts those who rely completely on Him. When He said you will be a billionaire, He factored in your weaknesses, your failures, and your shortcomings. None of those disqualify you. In fact, they are the very reasons God's glory will be magnified through you. Because when you rise, the world will know that it was not your ability, but His hand that brought you there. Do not let small-minded people limit your faith. Some will tell you that it is wrong to desire wealth, that you should be content with little. They do not understand that divine abundance is not greed, it is purpose. God wants His people to rise so they can be channels of good, vessels of transformation, and pillars of generosity. How can you feed the hungry without resources? How can you build schools, shelters, and hospitals without provision? God gives wealth to those whose hearts are aligned with compassion. He does not raise billionaires for self-glory, but for divine responsibility. You are blessed to be a blessing. You are chosen to be a channel of His abundance. There will be moments when you feel nothing is happening, when your efforts seem wasted, when your faith feels weak. In those moments, remember this: God works in silence. The seed grows underground long before the fruit appears. The waiting season is not the wasting season. It is the shaping season. God is building your endurance so that when success comes, you can sustain it. Many people receive blessings they cannot maintain because they did not let God prepare them first. Do not rush what God is perfecting. His timing is flawless. When He releases the flood of blessings, it will be so overwhelming that you will understand why He made you wait. And when that breakthrough comes, remember where it came from. Wealth can be a dangerous illusion. It can make people forget the source. The moment you forget God, you start sinking. Stay humble. Stay connected to the one who gave it. Never let success separate you from surrender. When your hands are full, keep your heart empty of pride. When you sit among the powerful, remember the days you cried to God in silence. Gratitude protects the blessing. Humility sustains it. God is not limited by systems. He does not need the economy to favor you. He does not need connections to bless you. He does not need your job, your business, or your investors to prosper you. All He needs is your faith. He can use anything, a simple idea, a single opportunity, even a stranger, to change your entire destiny. Stop trying to figure out the method. Focus on the Master. When you put your trust fully in God, He will surprise you with sudden acceleration. In one day, He can change your story. In one moment, He can erase years of struggle. You do not serve a God of gradual change. You serve a God of sudden miracles. You must also understand the spiritual warfare attached to divine wealth. When God is about to lift you, darkness will try to distract you. It will send confusion, temptation, laziness, and fear. Not because the enemy is strong, but because your destiny is dangerous to his plans. He fears what will happen when a God-fearing billionaire rises. He fears what will happen when you begin to fund light, truth, and hope. That is why you must protect your mind and your peace. Guard your focus as if it were gold, because distraction is the enemy of destiny. Stay focused on what God said, not what people say. There will be critics. There will be mockers. Some will call you delusional. Others will call you arrogant. But remember, they did not hear what God told you. They were not there when He whispered your future into your heart. Do not expect them to understand what was never revealed to them. Walk in quiet confidence. Let your results speak for you. The day will come when those who mocked you will ask for your advice. Those who doubted you will seek your counsel. God will use your success to silence your critics. And when you finally step into that season of overflow, remember that money is not the master, it is the messenger. It is not the destination, it is the tool. Use it to reflect the heart of God. Let your wealth bring light where there is darkness, joy where there is sorrow, and hope where there is despair. Build with it, heal with it, empower with it. You were not called to be rich. You were called to be impactful. And wealth is the language through which your impact will speak. Never forget this truth. The promise of God carries its own power to fulfill itself. You do not need to make it happen through anxiety or fear. The word that God spoke over you contains the energy to bring itself to pass. Just as a seed contains the tree within it, so the word of God contains your wealth within it. Your only task is to believe, to nurture that belief, to keep your faith alive even when everything seems impossible. Faith is the soil where divine promises grow. When God decides to lift a person into a realm of abundance, He does not check the balance of your account. He checks the depth of your faith. God does not look at your job title, your education, or your family name. He looks at your trust in Him, because the wealth He is about to place in your hands is not humanly produced. It is divinely transferred. There are treasures that have been hidden, waiting for the right heart to carry them. There are doors that have been locked for generations, waiting for one voice of faith to speak the key. And when God said you will be a billionaire, He was announcing to heaven and earth that you are that chosen vessel. But listen, the making of a billionaire in God's system is not just financial, it is spiritual. God enlarges your inner world before He expands your outer world. He changes your perspective before He changes your position. He matures your character before before He multiplies your resources. Because wealth without divine direction is like power, without purpose, dangerous and short-lived. That is why God allows you to pass through fire before you touch gold. He is not delaying you. He is defining you. He is not withholding blessings. He is protecting them until you are ready. Music. There's something sacred about divine timing. Many people sabotage their own blessing by trying to rush what only God can release. You cannot fast forward a divine promise. You can only prepare for it. When God sets a season, not even your impatience can make it arrive early. But when the time is right, not even your enemies can make it arrive late. There will come a moment when what you prayed for suddenly appears, and you will realize why it took so long, because God was aligning everything to meet at the right intersection of destiny. Your journey to divine wealth may not look glamorous now. You may be surrounded by struggle, by limitations, by misunderstanding. But remember, God begins His masterpieces in hidden places. Diamonds are not formed in light. They are formed in pressure, in darkness, deep beneath the surface. So if you are under pressure, if you are in the dark, do not curse the process. God is forming something priceless within you. Every test, every loss, every delay is shaping your capacity to handle what He is about to release. Do not envy others who seem to rise faster than you. Some climb ladders built by men, while others are lifted by the hand of God. What man builds can collapse overnight, but what God establishes stands forever. The wealth that is coming your way will not fade, because it will be rooted in purpose. You will not just be rich, you will be relevant. Your influence will not just be economic, it will be spiritual. You will carry an authority that money cannot buy, because your prosperity will be clothed in divine power. You must develop the mindset of a custodian, not an owner. What God gives you is not for you to worship. It is for you to steward. You are not the source. You are the channel. God gives through you, not just to you. The day you begin to see yourself as the distributor of divine wealth, not just the recipient, that is the day you become unstoppable. When your intentions align with divine purpose, heaven's resources flow without limit. God trusts those who use wealth to extend His goodness, not their ego. And hear this well. Divine wealth will test your humility. It will test your relationships. Music, it will test your focus, because wealth amplifies what is already inside you. If greed lives in your heart, wealth will expose it. If pride lives in your heart, wealth will magnify it. But if gratitude lives in your heart, wealth will multiply it. That is why you must keep your spirit low before God. Even when your name rises high among men, the higher He lifts you, the deeper you must bow in humility. Remember where you came from. Remember who sustained you when no one saw you. Never forget that it was God who opened every door and orchestrated every step. You will notice when God begins to fulfill His promise, opportunities will begin to appear where none existed before. Ideas will begin to flow like rivers. People will begin to be drawn to you, not by coincidence, but by divine magnetism. You will start to notice patterns of favor that cannot be explained. Do not call it luck. It is divine alignment. God's favor will go ahead of you into meetings, into negotiations, into decisions. Your name will be spoken in rooms you have never entered. Your reputation will rise before your presence does, and when you finally arrive, the environment will already be prepared to receive you. That is how God operates. He goes before His chosen ones. Be careful to cultivate peace in the middle of success. Many rise, but few remain steady. True wealth is not the absence of problems. It is the presence of divine stability. When storms come, wealth without God collapses. But when your foundation is built on faith, no storm can shake you. God will teach you how to be content in plenty and patient in scarcity. He will show you that peace is the greatest currency of all. When you have peace with God, everything else falls into place. You must also learn to listen for God's voice. Even in prosperity, sometimes abundance can be louder than wisdom. The noise of success can drown out the whisper of direction. Never allow your growth to silence your dependence. The same voice that guided you through wilderness must continue to guide you through wealth. Stay sensitive. Keep your hearts off before Him. Because one wrong partnership, one wrong decision, one moment of pride can destroy what took years to build. But if you remain anchored in divine instruction, you will not just gain wealth, you will sustain it for generations. There will be people who try to imitate your success without understanding your source. They will chase your results, but ignore your relationship with God. They will copy your actions, but not your alignment. Let them try. They will soon discover that what is divine cannot be duplicated without devotion. The key to your prosperity is not a formula, it is a covenant. What works for you is not your strategy, it is your surrender. God lifts those who submit fully, not those who calculate partially. Do not be surprised when people leave you during your process. God will isolate you before He elevates you. He removes those who cannot handle your next level. He separates you from distractions so He can prepare you for distinction. You may cry over who left, but one day you will thank God for protecting you from those who would have limited you. Every departure is divine pruning, and every pruning makes room for new growth. You are being shaped to handle influence. Wealth is influence, and influence is responsibility. The moment you rise, others will look to you for direction, for inspiration, for leadership. God is preparing you to be a light, not a spotlight, but a lighthouse. A spotlight draws attention to itself, but a lighthouse guides others safely home. That is what your wealth will become. A light of hope for those lost in darkness. A signal of what faith can do. God said you will be a billionaire, but not just for your comfort. He said it because through you others will see that trusting in God is not in vain. Your story will preach louder than any sermon. When people see what God has done in your life, they will be reminded that nothing is impossible for those who believe. You will be a living testimony of divine faithfulness. You will show that obedience is never wasted, that prayer is never ignored, and that humility is never forgotten. So as you move forward, refuse to let fear dictate your steps. Fear has never built anything of worth. Fear is the language of limitation. Faith is the language of dominion. Speak faith, walk faith, think faith. Let your entire being reflect trust in God's power. When you move in faith, heaven moves with you. When you take one step in obedience, God takes 10 steps in acceleration. The day will come, and it is coming soon, when everything God said will stand visible before your eyes. The wealth will come, the opportunities will come, the expansion will come, and you will look back and say it was all worth it. You will see why you had to cry, why you had to wait, why you had to be misunderstood. You will understand that every closed door was divine protection. Every delay was divine preparation, and every hardship was divine construction. You will stand in awe, not of what you achieved, but of what God accomplished through you. And as you walk in that promise, remember that the greatest wealth is not what you possess, but who possesses you. Stay in God. Let Him continue to be your anchor, your wisdom, your guide. Because the true billionaire is not the one with the most money, but the one with the greatest peace, purpose, and power flowing from God. Your hands may carry gold, but your heart must carry gratitude. Your account may overflow, but your soul must remain anchored in humility. This is your season of becoming. This is the hour when prophecy transforms into reality. God has spoken, and His word does not return empty. Every promise will mature. Every vision will manifest. Every dream He planted will bear fruit. Walk with confidence. Speak with authority. Live with conviction. Because God has already settled it in heaven. You will be a billionaire, and not for vanity, but for victory. Not for display, but for destiny. The world will see your success, but only you will know the secret. It was God and God alone. So stand firm in faith, for what God has spoken cannot be undone. The path may test you, but the promise will triumph. When God says you will be a billionaire, it is not a wish, It is a decree written in eternity. Walk boldly. Think greatly. Give generously and remain humble. Because every breath of your success, every blessing in your hands, and every door that opens before you will echo one truth, that God alone is the source, the sustainer, and the finisher of your destiny.